It has been stated that while in Togo, he actually paid homage to the sacred snakes. Standing with a voodoo chief before a snake hut in the center of the town, Antipope John Paul II cast cucumber peelings on the ground in front of its entrance. Moments later, a serpent slithered forth from it. The chief then turned to the antipope, exclaiming that the reptile's appearance meant that the snake god had favored his offering. During one of his talks in Mexico on January 24, 1999, Antipope John Paul II said, "Quetzalcoatl grasped the fundamental truth that man is at the center of creation." Quetzalcoatl is the stone serpent that Our Lady of Guadalupe came to crush. In other words, Quetzalcoatl is the devil. Antipope John Paul II is saying that the devil has grasped the fundamental truth that man is at the center of creation. John Paul II thinks the Hail Mary should be changed. John Paul II thinks the Hail Mary should really begin, "Rejoice Mary, filled with grace." St. Louis de Montfort said, "The heretics, all of whom are children of the devil and clearly bear the sign of God's reprobation, have a horror of the Hail Mary." Antipope John Paul II said about homosexuals, "They are not outcasts. Homosexuals, like all people who suffer, are in the heart of the Church." Speaking about homosexuals, St. Bernardine of Siena said, "Someone who lived practicing the vice of sodomy will suffer more pains in hell than anyone else, because this is the worst sin that there is." Antipope John Paul II announced his commitment a few years ago to a new feminism. Antipope John Paul II recently approved hula dancing in Vatican II churches. Antipope John Paul II on music and dancing. Antipope John Paul II, "I like classical music a lot, but also modern music. I also enjoy rock. I am not a man of the past." On September 30th, 1997, the International Congress for Young Religious met Antipope John Paul II. During this meeting, some of the young men and women, led by a priest, performed a rap dance in John Paul II's presence. St. Alphonsus said, "If you wish to sing, sing spiritual songs, but take care never on any account to dance. The very fact of taking your companion by the hand may cause you many bad thoughts and temptations." On many occasions, Antipope John Paul II has exhorted the Catholic Church hierarchy and faithful to recognize and ask forgiveness for errors its members have made in the past. This has included Antipope John Paul II apologizing for the Inquisition, the mistreatment of Galileo, the Crusades, and many other actions of the Church. John Paul II's year 2000 Jubilee schedule. Rome. John Paul II might soon add witches and heretics to the list of groups against which the Roman Catholic Church has sinned. On March 8, 2000, he is to lead a penitential procession and call for forgiveness for the historical failings of the Church. Alongside the Jews to whom John Paul II has extended his apologies will be representatives of those whom the Inquisition tortured and killed for their beliefs. On May 7, 2000, there will be an ecumenical commemoration of new martyrs. As part of the Jubilee Year 2000 celebrations, the Vatican plans to make new martyrs out of many non-Catholics. In his encyclical Ut Unum Sint, in paragraph 47, Antipope John Paul II calls non-Catholics who have died for their Protestant faiths witnesses. To prove that Antipope John Paul II looks upon members of non-Catholic religions as martyrs, we will quote Crossing the Threshold of Hope, pages 176 and 177. "The saints of our century have been in large part martyrs. The monstrous Holocaust of the Jews revealed authentic saints among Catholic and Orthodox, and among Protestants as well. These were true martyrs." On May 8, 1999, Antipope John Paul II said, "We will cross this threshold with our martyrs, with all who have given their lives for the faith, Orthodox, Catholics, Anglicans, Protestants. The blood of martyrs has always been a seed which gives birth to new Christian faithful." Pope Eugene IV in his bull Cantate Domino in 1441 stated, "No one, even if he shed his blood out for the name of Christ, can be saved unless he has remained within the bosom and unity of the Catholic Church." It has been taught by the following sources that if a pope becomes a manifest, notorious, or public heretic, he loses his office without declaration. the unanimous consensus of the early church fathers, the common consensus of all the saints, the vast majority of theologians and canonists up to and including the 20th century, the 1917 Code of Canon Law, the infallible magisterium of the Church. Pope Paul IV defined the following in the papal bull Cum ex apostolatus officio, February 15, 1559. If ever it should appear that any bishop, even one acting as an archbishop, patriarch, or primate, or a cardinal, or the Roman Pontiff, whether prior to his promotion to cardinal, or prior to his election as Roman Pontiff, has beforehand deviated from the Catholic faith, or fallen into any heresy, we enact, we decree, we determine, and we define such promotion or election in and of itself, even with the agreement and unanimous consent of all the cardinals, shall be legally invalid and void. Such promotion or election shall not, through any lapse of time in the foregoing situation, be considered even partially legitimate in any way. Those so promoted or elected, by that very fact and without the need to make any further declaration, shall be deprived of any dignity, position, honor, title, authority, office, and power. Therefore, it is permitted to no one to impair this page of our approval, renewal, sanction, statute, wills of repeal, of decrees, or to go contrary to it by a rash, daring deed. If anyone, moreover, will have presumed to attempt this, he will incur the wrath of Almighty God and of the blessed apostles Peter and Paul. Canon 188.4, the 1917 Code of Canon Law states, there are certain causes which affect the tacit resignation of an office, which resignation is accepted in advance by operation of the law, and hence is effective without any declaration. These causes are, if he has publicly fallen away from the faith. The source for this canon, as you can see, is Pope Paul IV's bull, Cum ex apostolatus officio. Pope Innocent III stated, if indeed such a situation would happen, he, the Roman Pontiff, would by divine law fall from office without any sentence, indeed, without even a declaratory one. Pope Innocent III also stated, a pope who would fall into heresy and cling to it ceases at the same time to be a member of the Church and consequently to be pope. He would be removed by himself. St. Robert Bellarmine, a cardinal and doctor of the Church, stated, a pope who is a manifest heretic automatically ceases to be pope and head, just as he ceases automatically to be a Christian and member of the Church. Wherefore he can be judged and punished by the Church. This is the teaching of all the ancient fathers, who teach that manifest heretics immediately lose all jurisdiction. St. Francis de Sales, bishop and doctor of the Church, said, now when the Pope is explicitly a heretic, he falls ipso facto from his dignity and out of the Church. So far we have demonstrated that Antipope John Paul II is a notorious heretic. We have also seen that a notorious heretic is not a pope. It is obvious, therefore, that John Paul II is not a pope. Could he be something more than just an antipope? The following information is our opinion as to the reality of Antipope John Paul II, his immediate predecessors, the New Order of Mass, and the Vatican II sect. Revelation chapter 13 tells us that the number of the beast is 666. As we approach the end of the world, Satan's time becomes shorter, and his power becomes greater. As a result, we see his number all over the place. Occultists not only use 3 sixes, they also use 3 reverse sixes, as you can see on the cover of this book.